Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Our sense of hearing is so important. Of course, it's life. You hear loved ones, watch a movie, listen to your favorite music, but the sound that you're hearing can actually heal you for many different things or create a certain feeling. She does that all the time as a sound healer. It's pretty amazing. Just by making sounds, we can change your energy, make you feel better. She could better explain it than I can. Barb Sounds joins us back here. Hey, Barb, how are you?
I'm good, Steve. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. And I'm excited today because when you play, you always set an intention. And in the past, a lot of the intentions were for people that are going through challenges to make them feel better. We're going to start with the better. And your intention is going to be when you play about joy today?
Yes, I'm going to play for joy. So that will be interesting. And joy is a very kind of a special frequency. It's right up there with love. So it's very positive. It's very expansive. And when I was studying in the Buddhist tradition under Thich Nhat Hanh, he said the difference between happiness and joy is happiness is when you don't get what you want, and joy is basically feeling one with the universe. So it's like a really sort of high level frequency. And the other thing is that in Buddhism, there's a kind of instruction that before we sit with our difficult feelings, which is all the ones I've been playing for so far, before we sit with our negative feelings or our difficult feelings, we need to generate joy. And it took me 4 years, sad to say, it took me 4 years to figure out what that meant. Because I was like, well, what is generating joy? Anyway, how do I do that? And I was at a retreat one time and they went around the circle and they wanted everybody to say what brought them joy. And I was having a pretty rough time at that point in my life. And the only thing I could think of that made me feel joy was walking my dog. And then I decided that was pretty pathetic. It was just like, that was the only thing I could think of. And so then I started trying to look for ways to do that. And that was before I started sound healing. So I think,
wow,
just as the sound healing, lets our body relax and lets our mind relax, and that relaxation is really good for healing, for our body to heal. I think also connecting to the deeper frequencies of joy, which is it's more than just a feeling. It's a connection to, we can feel it sometimes when we look at a baby or when we're walking in the trees or, even when we're in love with somebody, we're feeling that special kind of joy. And that's also really conducive to healing. So I'm very excited to play today.
So when you play, and I just want to recap for everybody,
mm-hmm.
When you play, are you playing differently to get a result? Be it we want to feel joy or we want to heal from a trauma or whatever it might be, or you're just playing, but the intent that you have when you play is what sends the energy out for the goal.
Yeah, the latter. So the intent, if I make an intention that I'm going to play for joy, with that specific kind of joy in mind, then the energy will come through the instruments, the energy for that. Yeah.
Now, you said something before, the difference between happiness and joy. And I want to make sure I heard that right. Happiness is when you don't get what you want?
Well, no, when you do get what you want. Sorry, I said it wrong. Okay. You're right.
When you do get what you want.
Happiness is when you do get what you want. Yeah.
Which is all cool. That's that's
great.
You've attained
Happiness
the goal.
Is good.
You're happy.
Yeah.
But what the feeling I get from all of this is that's here. Happiness. That's good. Joy is just an overwhelming emotion. I got what I wanted. It made me feel a certain way. I am one with the universe. It don't get any better than right now. That's joy.
Yeah, that's joy. And connecting to those frequencies, you can connect to the joy on a deeper level, even if you're feeling sad or depressed or anxious or anything. So joy is, to me, joy is kind of the what our soul feels all the time.
Or should feel.
Well, our soul is not our mind, right? So our mind, we can be having a terrible time with our thoughts and our feelings, but our soul is kind of like, is like something bigger. So our soul is always like, this is okay. Like our soul would be looking at, say, sadness, and our soul would be saying, oh, this is great. We get to experience sadness. This is good.
This is wow. I think I had an epiphany, and I'm not even kidding. So
Mm.
your soul is always experiencing joy, whatever way that is, and it may
Yep.
even make the best of a situation to find the joy in every challenging situation. The challenge overall is this is getting in the way from you feeling what you should be feeling from your soul. Does that make sense?
Yes, exactly. And this is getting in the way because this is always focused on what do I want and am I getting it?
Yeah.
Right. So that's
Right.
that's going
Yeah.
back to the difference between happiness and joy.
Wow.
So
Instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com is how you reach us. Instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. Would love your feelings on what we're going to do right here. Can we hear you play and then we'll kind of go back over everything?
yeah, for
Excellent.
sure.
There she
So
is
I'm
in her
just
studio.
there's you got to see my studio and put my mics on. Okay, so I'll play for I don't know, I'll play for about 7 minutes maybe.
Sure.
And we'll see how that works. So, for everybody listening and for everybody who is watching any of the replays or listening to any of the replays, take a few deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when you're taking a breath out through your mouth, you can make a sound, like a really just expelling the air. And that helps you to get rid of the stress in your body and to kind of just sort of calm everything down. But don't worry if that doesn't work right away because the instruments will do it for you. So here we go.
And she's back.
And that is joy.
Wow. What did you play at the end?
At the very end, I played the Koshi chimes. You haven't heard them. They're a slightly different kind of chime. Then I've been playing something called the Zafir chimes. These are the Koshi chimes. They're made by the same guy, but they were the original chimes that he made. So they're made out of bamboo with steel and a crystal knocker inside.
Yeah.
And they're tuned. There's 4 of them, so they're tuned to fire, air, earth, and water.
Very, I guess my best description is very unique sound.
Mm-hmm.
Different, very different, and very defined. Like sometimes you've played, I guess, chimes before, maybe wind type chimes, and the frequency is much higher and sometimes doesn't project as much. These, it's there. You hear it. It's good.
Yeah.
Just a different sound. Not to say that the other chimes aren't good. This is just a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, and they're more fun because they can blend together. Like the other chimes that I have, I think I told you in another podcast that I can only play one at a time because the sounds kind of clash. But these 4 Koshi chimes you play together. So I played fire and then fire and air and then air and then air and water and then, right down to the end. So it's cool.
I got Kelly in Fort Worth, Texas, checking in at instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. She says, I enjoyed your music. She called it music. Can we call it music?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. How does someone react to the sound? Is it instant or does it typically take time?
I guess it depends on what you mean by react, or maybe if you're thinking like responding to.
I think she maybe means that, like how long it takes to, let's say, feel joy.
Do anything. Should it
be instantaneous? Does it take a little bit of time?
It's very different for different, for different people. And usually, I mean, right now in the podcast, I'm playing for specific things like, for anxiety, for pain, or for joy. And the gongs don't necessarily play, or the instruments don't necessarily play just for that one thing. So Kelly, if you were in a sound bath with me, either like a group one, public group one, or an individual session, we would be playing for not just one thing that you want to, let go over, that you want to work with, but like pretty much everything that you are and everything that is inside of you. That's what the gongs and the instruments are playing to, right? So
So
it's it doesn't actually, it's not as concrete as it producing joy. I think what it does is it sends the energy of joy to you, and what you do with that is up to you, right? And it makes people feel very different. The same, I play the same sound bath for 20, 25 people, and every single one of them is going to have a different experience.
it's like the way I would equate it is Reiki is energy healing. And what you did is the same thing. When I have Reiki, sometimes immediately I feel a little bit lighter, maybe some more clarity. There's other times where it takes a couple of days, not even kidding. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I notice it's a change. I'm thinking differently. I feel differently. And I know it's connected to that session. And that just happened to me
Yeah.
Monday. Monday night I had Reiki. I didn't feel anything right away. Went to bed, had a weird dream, like pretty heavy. Um, and then woke up the next day. Honestly, didn't feel like great at all. But 2 days later, and especially today, I I feel much more clarity, lighter, less worry, less concern. So maybe for some, it takes a little bit of time for the energy to be processed.
Yes. And I think, because our body has to absorb it, and then our mind, of course, does something with it as well. But
Right.
especially I think when I'm playing for the more what we call positive feelings, so something like joy, is like, do we really know, and can we describe what joy feels like? Like, Kelly, how would you know if you were feeling joy? You know what I mean? Like, unless you're doing a happy dance and you're like complete, but that's more like being happy. So what does it feel like? What does joy feel like? Sometimes it feels like just deep peace. Sometimes it feels like there's a few little
Hmm.
bubbly things happening inside you. Sometimes you may notice something later today that you walk by all the time, or that you've seen a million times before, and all of a sudden it seems beautiful to you, and you're overcome with the beauty of that thing. So we experience joy in all different kinds of ways.
Totally got it. And I call it
Mhm.
um, quiet calm. Now,
Yeah.
is that joy? Well, it's just a feeling of elation that everything's good. Everything's going to be okay. It's a kind of a rich emotional feeling. It comes and goes.
Yeah.
But it's for me, and I think what you said at the very beginning, Barb, the difference between happiness and joy kind of sends it home. And the fact that we're all experiencing joy, it's there. You were designed to have joy. Somebody even said to me not too long ago, we were designed to be happy, to be joyful, for life to be amazing, fantastic, fulfilling. It all should be happening. And if it's not, something's out of alignment. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's your energy's messed up, whatever it might be. But like you said before, our souls are always within us feeling joy or making joy out of challenging situations. But this thing gets in the way. It's in the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. So it's just sometimes it's just a feeling of well-being,
Yes.
like you were saying, like everything is okay, or like I'm okay, because we worry a lot if we're okay.
Yeah.
And, and we worry about if we're going to be okay in the future, and we worry about were we really okay in the past. And,
Isn't that
you
sad?
know, we have no
Wait.
idea if we're really okay in the present moment. But lots of times, I had a lot of anxiety when I was younger,
Mhm.
and depression, and particularly for the anxiety, one of the things actually that I learned also in my Buddhist group was from one of the teachers. And she said, when you start getting all like, knotted up in whatever you're feeling, whatever you're thinking, you just need to take a deep breath and go, am I okay right now? Like, am I okay right now? Yeah, pretty much, sometimes we're not okay. Like, I couldn't have said that in chemo, am I okay? But in a way I was okay, because I was dealing with it, and it was, you know, it wasn't killing me. It wasn't as scary after the first one. And, so am I okay? Is like, yeah, like, I mean, I'm not about to get hit by a truck or,
But what you said before with your soul always being okay, because it's
yeah,
always in a joyous
yeah,
state, your soul may be turning around and saying, hey, this treatment isn't a lot of fun, but I know your soul knows that on the other side of it, you're going to be a better person for it. There is a
yeah,
reason you're going through it.
yeah,
It is going to be okay. That feeling, maybe not the best at that moment, but your head gets in the way and then starts questioning it. Well, what if the treatment doesn't work? And again, I had radiation. I get it. What if it doesn't work?
yeah,
What if
yeah.
I got to do more? What if this? What if that? If we could just get rid of that, it would be
We
much
could,
better.
we could feel more joy.
We could feel more joy.
And even, I mean, I trained as a death doula, so in end of life care. And one of the things that is if somebody who's dying can, get in touch with their higher self or their soul, right? And yes, they're sad to be leaving people they love and, that their life is kind of going to be over, but you also can feel incredible joy. Like I had a moment of huge, incredible joy in the middle of a radiation treatment when I was like terrified out of my mind. Like my
I get it.
body was terrified. My mind was frozen. I couldn't even think of anything. And all of a sudden, it was like I was floating in this white. It was like floating in space, but it was white, like pure white instead of dark. And I mean, I have felt connected to everything many times in my life, but not like that. That was just incredible. And that was joy.
I hear
And
you.
that's crazy. I got off the table and I was like, what the heck was that? Right. Like, cause I was not
Yeah.
happy. I was terrified. And then it just kind of went poof.
It's almost as if you went into your soul. Your mind finally said, I got to go
I
there.
give up.
I give up.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
this took over as it should. And I can remember that too. A couple of times where I'm bolted to a table. I have this thing I can't even move my head. I can barely breathe. There's like a little tiny hole. It's like talk about claustrophobia. But
Yeah.
then I thought the staff is so loving and so amazing. And I was like, wow, this is okay. It's going to be okay. And I
Yeah.
felt it. It was just like,
Yeah.
and I didn't even know I was there at that moment. I just closed my eyes and was like,
Yeah.
I'm not even here now. I'm like on a, tropical island feeling the sunshine. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it,
yeah, and I think we tend to hold on to the bad feelings much more than we even imagine. So we can, I can still be feeling bad about something that happened to me 20 or 30 years ago, and I'm carrying that with me, like, and that's taking energy, and I don't even know that,
yeah.
until I have a dream like about it or something. But like we have a hard time of letting go of that. And what I learned from that experience during the radiation treatment, because I was lying down in a big machine, and was just that when I let go of my fear, like when I totally surrendered my fear, I was in joy. So if we let go of our sadness, we'll be in joy. If we let go of our
Mm,
pain, we'll be in joy, or we'll be in love. You can call it love too, because
sure.
that's how our heart experiences it, right?
Well, when they say love and light, I get joy just hearing that. It's just
Yeah,
a wonderful
yeah,
expression. Um, and what you do in terms of sound, I believe, helps us get closer to whatever that is, be it joy or we're dealing with anxiety. I know we played for that once before.
yeah,
How do
yeah.
we find you, Barb?
The best way to find me is to go on heal.me/Barb Sounds. That's my booking site. That's actually the best place to go to because you can read a little bit about different kinds of sessions that I do. And you can
Okay.
also book a free 30-minute sound bath with me. That's instead of a free consult that everybody else does where we're just talking. And so really, if you want to see if sound healing is going to be a good thing for you, then just come and do a free 30-minute one with me. It's way,
I
way
just
better than 5 or 10 minutes in the podcast.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
if it draws me and people like Kelly in like that, imagine what it would do in a half hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
talk about joy.
Yeah.
Bring that on. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is that I've been putting these podcasts, like all of my podcasts that I've done so far are on my YouTube channel, which
Okay.
is basically youtube.com /@Barb Sounds. And
Got it.
so, especially because I think Kelly, you've been listening before. unless you're a different Kelly, but if you miss a session or something, or you want to go see a replay, or you're hearing it live, but you want to see, then just go to my YouTube channel. So it's youtube.com/@Barb Sounds.
And there's a lot to be learned. And it's not just about sound. It's about, we talk about a lot of different things in terms of finding what you want in life, the intention, dealing with it. Like we talked about overcoming challenges and how that gets in the way. So that's why it's wonderful always talking with you, Barb. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.